Good morning. I'm going to take the translation off here because I don't need to hear the Vietnamese at the same time. So I'm really happy to be back in Vietnam. I've been coming here for many years. I've been seeing how this country has developed, and it's just amazing. I was personally involved in the Sumla project, which is the biggest hydro project in ASEAN, right? 2.4 gigawatt of power. And I know that all the units up there are running well, and it makes me incredibly proud to be back to see that. So I'm going to talk about the energy ecosystem this morning, and Andreas already was talking before, he talked about some of these points, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper in terms of the energy ecosystem and how we look at it, and how we prioritize the different priorities. Can I have the clicker? Thank you. So, here, so we talked about affordable power. What would be the most important thing, right? Would be power would be free. That would be the best, right? The same thing about reliable power, which is available every second. And the last one, wouldn't it be wonderful if it wouldn't produce any pollution or any CO2 in the world? We, however, all know that that's not possible today. Maybe it will in the future. But all these three priorities are pulling in different directions, right? So at the end of the day, making it all sustainable will maybe not making it affordable. And the other thing is, maybe we'll have a problem with reliability if we want it to be affordable. So from GE point of view, we look at the ecosystem from the consumption, in some ways, from where it all started. And Bob has talked about that, the light bulb, right? All the way back to where do we get the energy source from. And for GE, the furthest we can go is to the oil and gas. So, the world is going through a tremendous transformation at the moment. And the energy ecosystem is going through this transformation too. But on the traditional technologies, there's still progress being made. Gas turbine technology today are capable of delivering more than 62% overall efficiency in combined cycle, and it's still going up. Steam plant, coal-fired power plants. We have a problem with the mic, right? 47% plus. And we see efficiency improvements on wind, solar. So the traditional technologies are still improving. But that's not a transformation. The transformation is what's happening, and Andreas talked about that, the decentralization which is happening. Solar rooftop, windmills, small power plants, batteries. The other transformation is the renewable one, decarbonization of the power ecosystem. Carbon capture systems is there. And then I think the biggest transformation which is happening, and which we're only in the beginning of, is the digitalization of the power ecosystem. We're in the early part of it. I know in Vietnam you're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. I think this could be it. This could be the beginning of it. We will only know later if it's a revolution or not. I'm going to change the mic here. Don't take anything else off. Are we okay? What a revolution. This one. Does it work? Yeah, good. So this is what is happening. The ecosystem is transforming. and it could become a revolution. So how does that link it to Vietnam? Same drivers, same priorities, right? You heard it before, affordable power is important for growth. Reliability, sustainability, it's all on the government's and the country's focus. We need to ensure that. So Vietnam needs to ensure that you don't have a power price which hinders the growth to get above 6% GDP growth per year. But you also want reliable power. That's very important for attracting foreign investments or getting people even to invest in industries. Today, Vietnam has 38 hours of interruption per year. I can give you another country in this region which has 0.008 hours of interruption per year. A huge difference. That's most likely world class in this part of the world. But think about reliability is still an issue. Interruption and frequency, same thing. And then you have the issue to grow 6+% on GDP. Spoken about earlier, you need 11% of power demand growth. If you want to do that with less CO2, you have set a target of 10% more plus more renewables by 2030. All these are fantastic priorities and very important, but how do you balance each of these out? And here comes one thing, capital. Right? Everything is possible, but there's one more driver here which makes it difficult to achieve it, is it costs money. And money drives the above one. Affordability, the more you spend, you can make all renewable, but you're going to spend a lot of money. Do you have access to capital? Do you have access to capital at the right cost to make the power affordable? And capital is a scarce resource worldwide, so how do you attract the capital to Vietnam, to your project, to your country, to deliver the priorities you have? And I would like to add a last one, which I think sometimes gets forgotten, and I am aware of one other country in this region, and we should not name it. I think we did a lot of investments years back to put new technology into the country, but they forgot one thing. You need the people in the country to be able to manage and understand the new technology. So if there's one message here I want to leave is, don't forget to train the people in the country. Because if you just put the investment, you find the funding, and you invest in the latest of the latest technology, but if people do not know how to operate, maintain, at the end of the day, you don't get the value back from the investment you have done. So I see 5 different priorities, all of them are important. And we'll sit in a session later and talk a bit about Vietnam and how do you look at what is the most important of which drivers put us in different directions. So competing priorities, let me see here. No, it stops. So again here, affordability, right? So it's all a matter of capital access, cost of capital, and it's cost to operate and cost to invest. On reliability, really, if you don't have reliability, you're going to struggle with your growth. And so, and then you want to ensure that you have, one thing is likely the human capital down here. You need to have people in place. You need to have invested to ensure that you have reliable assets. And then we talked about, here's another 2 priorities. Do you invest in renewable, or do you invest in technologies, existing technologies, combined cycle power plant, coal power plant with better efficiency? Or do you upgrade the existing ones so that they get less emissions? So a lot of priorities to look at, a lot of things to evaluate. And I want to take an example through with you, just a simple example here of how difficult it is, but in also some ways how easy it is. Existing power plant, combined cycle, it's actually a real one here in Vietnam. You could continue producing 320 megawatts. You could continue producing the way it is. 43% efficiency, high NOx, and do nothing. But does it help you on affordability, reliability, and sustainability? No. You can do simple upgrades, which will help you to comply with emissions, with small investments. But there's an option more. You could do bigger repowering. You could take the same plant, take more megawatt out, helping you with the power demand growth. A new gas turbine in an old plant will likely should mean better reliability, more flexibility, less pollution, but it will cost more. So a repowered power plant could mean 11% reduction of CO2. And it could give you 12% more power, but it will cost a bit more. Or you could do one thing. You could obviously scrap the old and build new. Building new will cost the most, but it will also give you the most benefit. Emission 20% and 21% more power. So every time you need to make an individual investment, you have to look at these priorities. But as a country, it's even more difficult because it's not one investment. It's so many decisions you need to take to, at the end of the day, end up with the optimal solutions. So the way in GE we work is, we want all the time to try to evaluate with the customers all the different options. Not only think about one option, but think about the different options which is available to solve the individual problems. And this is actually a simple one, right? We can think about adding more complexity, about thinking more plants involving transmission and distribution and involving digital. So I'll share with you a bit about what is actually possible to do today for Vietnam. If you deploy the best gas turbine technology, 62+%, you will actually create over 25 years, 8.4 billion of value, economical value, because these gas turbines will use less fuel. That's because they have 5% better efficiency. You could also deploy the latest ultra supercritical clean coal boilers, which will give 3% better efficiency, 8% better availability, and $5 billion of value for the country. Or you can invest in existing plants. 3% efficiency improvement, 8% more availability, and $3 billion. All of this is huge money. Or we can upgrade the T&D, reducing the losses with 2%, less interruptions, creating a value of 2.4 billion. This is again just the traditional technologies where if we apply the latest technology, we can make that improvements. But we talked about transformation, the digital transformation. If we add digital on the traditional technologies, on a combined cycle, on a coal-fired power plant, on an existing plant, or on the T&D, we have calculated that for gas turbines it could mean 1.4 billion additional value for the country. Very similar for the coal, and around 3 billion for your existing fleet. And for transmission, 30% reduction. That is transformational. But that is not the end of transformation, because that's only talking about the individual technologies. It doesn't talk about the potential of digital at the end of the day. And I don't even have a value for that. Because if you start optimizing every plant, the transmission lines, the consumer, the supply of resources, oil and gas, and from a digital point of view, simulate what is the most optimal solutions, which we're not capable of doing today. But when everything gets connected, that becomes possible. And I can't put a value. I simply can't put a value. When is it? Is it 2 years from now? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? I can't tell you. The only thing, it's coming. It's going to be possible for us to optimize the energy ecosystem in a way none of us, I think, in this room can imagine. Who imagined that we would have, self-driven cars coming just a few years from now? And that likely these cars very soon will start speaking to each other, which is not the technology they're working on today, but a few years from now, likely the cars will speak to each other. They don't need us, and they will just drive around, and there will be no accident anymore, because when they communicate to each other, likely that will eliminate the possibility for accidents. Present technology doesn't work like that, but that's what is possible at the end of the day, that we will start having the assets speaking to each other and figuring out what is the most optimal way of running this ecosystem. So 25 billion of potential savings over the next 25 years, at the end of the day, should result in the most affordable power, sustainable and reliable. Just a very quick, and that's to set the scene for some of the panel discussions later on. If we just look at the sustainability, similar things, deploying the best gas turbines, latest technology, 2 million tons of CO2 reduction. On the coal, considerably more, 11.4 million tons per year. An existing plant, 5.5, and upgrading 1.9. And again here, there is a potential for the digital optimization, ending up with more than 30 tons of potential CO2 reduction. 48% of Vietnam's COP21 target. So lots of possibilities, lots of challenges ahead. So with that, I'm going to basically lead into a panel discussion. So while they set up the table and the chairs, and I'm just checking here if we have, yes, so we have the right names because we had a little bit of change in the last minute. So Mr. Tong, I'd like to invite you up to the stage to join me there. Mr. KB, he's over there, and then Leo from GE. If you would all join me here on stage in a minute, so we can have an open discussion about Vietnam and its priorities around affordable and reliable and access to capital. So let's start with a quick introduction of everybody around the table here. So yeah, good, thanks Walter. So let's start with an introduction of before we start the discussion. Maybe if you would start with introducing yourself.
Xin chào các quý vị, tôi tên là Hoàng Kim Dũng, tôi là cục trưởng năng lượng của Bộ Công Thương. Cơ quan tôi là đơn vị tư vấn xuất nhập công thương hoạch định